So imagine calling customer service, right? And you are just furious because a zipper on your, I don't know, your brand new jacket just broke.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there. It's the
It
worst.
really is. But before you can even launch into your whole angry tirade, the voice on the other end has already shipped a replacement.
Wow.
Yeah. They've refunded your shipping costs, and they've even suggested a matching scarf at a discount.
That's incredibly fast.
Right, and it didn't do this because you asked. It did it because it analyzed your micro hesitations on the retailer's app like 3 minutes ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then it cross-referenced that with a photo you uploaded to a return form, and it actually predicted your frustration level before you even dialed the number.
I mean, it completely upends our entire concept of what a service interaction is supposed to be.
Totally.
We are no longer dealing with software that just waits for a command. We're dealing with systems that, you know, anticipate the command before we even consciously formulate it.
And that is the exact shift we're unpacking today. So,
Yeah.
welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
If you've been following the massive wave of tech updates from late June 2026, you've probably noticed a really distinct pattern.
Definitely.
We're basically witnessing this transition from artificial intelligence acting as this invisible background utility, like running search algorithms or optimizing supply chains.
Right. The behind-the-scenes stuff.
Exactly. And it's moving from that to becoming a highly personalized collaborator in our daily lives.
Yeah, the underlying architecture of how we interact with the digital world
Yeah.
is fundamentally changing. It's moving from reactive to predictive.
Yeah.
And today's mission is to really look at the mechanics behind that shift. We need to understand not just what these systems are doing across retail, the arts, and education, but how they are actually doing it.
Right. The nuts and bolts of it all.
Exactly. And more importantly, why that demands an entirely new framework for how we trust the technology around us.
So let's start with that customer service scenario I mentioned, because, I mean, when I see the phrase AI chatbot, my immediate instinct is to just press 0 repeatedly.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just yelling representative into the receiver.
Like a broken record.
Yes, but the developments we are looking at in the retail sector right now, they represent a total departure from that miserable experience.
They really do.
Major brands are deploying these conversational agents that are dropping response times to near 0.
It's wild.
And it's driving customer satisfaction scores through the roof.
Okay, let's unpack this. It's doing all of this by behaving less like a robot and more like a hyper-observant boutique clerk, but fused with a supercomputer.
What's fascinating here is that the reason you want to yell at traditional phone trees is because they operate on rigid, brittle decision trees.
Right, like press 1 for this, 2 for that.
Exactly. And if you don't say the specific keyword the system requires, the whole thing just breaks down.
It's so frustrating.
But what we are seeing deployed now relies on massive leaps in natural language processing. Specifically, how these models handle what we call semantic vector spaces. Okay, semantic vector spaces. How does a semantic vector space stop me from wanting to throw my phone across the room?
Well, instead of looking for a specific word, like refund or broken, the AI maps the entire context of your messy human phrasing into a multidimensional mathematical space.
Okay, wait, so it's turning my rant into math.
Pretty much. It understands semantic proximity.
Hmm.
So if you type, I wore this once and it fell apart, I'm so over this brand, the AI recognizes the emotional intent.
Wow.
And it recognizes the practical problem, too, because that specific sequence of words sits in the same mathematical neighborhood as a formal refund request.
Oh, I see.
It processes the nuance, the frustration, and the intent simultaneously.
Which totally explains how they are having these fluid, accurate conversations that actually resolve issues.
Exactly.
But looking at the sources, the data shows the real magic isn't just the conversation itself. It's the predictive data analysis happening underneath it.
Yeah, the conversational interface is just the tip of the iceberg. The real power is the behavioral data stream.
Right.
When you interact with this new generation of retail AI, it isn't just addressing your broken zipper. It is simultaneously processing thousands of variables.
Like what kind of variables?
Well, your past purchase cadence, your browsing history, the time of day you usually shop.
Oh, wow. It knows I'm a late night scroller.
It does. And even the types of discounts you historically ignore versus the ones you actually act on.
So it shifts the entire dynamic. I mean, it's not just fixing a problem anymore. It's anticipating my next move.
Right. It creates a hyper-personalized feedback loop. By analyzing your specific data signature, the AI can formulate product recommendations or, dynamically generate a discount code tailored exactly to your threshold of buying.
That's almost a little spooky.
It is. It simulates a deeply attentive human relationship because it is paying attention to you with a level of granular detail that a human call center agent just simply doesn't have the cognitive bandwidth or the time to achieve.
It's a fascinating paradox, really. The customer service feels, quote unquote, more human, precisely because it's leveraging data processing at a scale that no human mind could ever manage.
Yeah, and if you take that underlying logic, mapping vast amounts of data to predict a highly specific human response and apply it to a completely different industry, you begin to see why this technology is suddenly everywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can map the math of a consumer's intent, you can map the math of a listener's emotional response.
Which brings us to the creative arts, and specifically this massive disruption happening in the music industry.
It's a huge shift.
Because we are looking at a new suite of AI tools that are composing full tracks across every genre. I mean, we are talking intricate classical symphonies, jazz arrangements, and just incredibly catchy modern pop hits.
Yeah, they're really good too.
They are, and the industry narrative right now is pushing this idea of collaboration.
Right.
The idea is that the AI generates the raw ideas, the underlying melodies and chord progressions, and then human musicians step in to refine and produce the final track.
The mechanisms making this possible are remarkably similar to the natural language processing we just discussed.
Really? How so?
Well, instead of predicting the next word in a sentence, the AI is trained on massive data sets of MIDI files and audio waveforms.
Okay.
It uses next token prediction, but applied to music theory. It understands mathematically that a dominant seventh chord naturally wants to resolve to the tonic.
Not because it has an ear for it, right?
Exactly. Not because it feels the tension, but because it recognizes the statistical probability of that resolution across centuries of composed music.
Okay, here is where it gets really interesting, but also a bit messy.
Oh, definitely.
Because I really struggle with this cozy collaboration framing.
How do you mean?
Well, if the machine's algorithms are generating the core melody, layering in the harmony, establishing the rhythmic cadence, and all the human does is come in at the very end to tweak a bridge or, polish the snare drum sound, aren't we fundamentally redefining the word composer?
That's the big debate.
Because calling that a collaboration feels a bit like calling myself a master chef, because I successfully microwaved a pre-packaged gourmet meal and then just added a sprig of parsley.
Right.
It feels more like being an editor than an actual creator.
That microwave analogy captures the exact tension tearing through the creative community right now.
Yeah.
You are isolating the core authorship debate.
Yeah.
We are being forced to ask what constitutes the actual soul of creativity.
Yeah.
And broadly speaking, there are two fiercely opposed philosophical camps reacting to this.
The purists who care about the origin and the pragmatists who care about the result.
Exactly. Let's look at the purist argument first. Their stance is that art, by definition, requires a genesis of human emotional experience.
Right, someone actually feeling something.
Yes. It is the translation of lived pain, joy, or heartbreak into a medium. Because an AI cannot experience heartbreak, its mathematical arrangement of a minor key is just hollow mimicry.
It's faking it.
Right. From this perspective, the AI's output might be technically flawless, but it's spiritually bankrupt. It's just a facsimile of art.
But the pragmatists counter that by focusing on the curation, right?
Yeah, they argue that creativity isn't exclusively about the initial spark. It is often about the final curated output.
Okay, so the selection process.
Right. If you prompt an AI and it generates 100 different melodic variations, and you use your distinct human taste, your lived experience, and your ear to select the one variation that resonates, and then you shape it into a final song, the curation is a profoundly creative act.
So it basically shifts the primary skill of the artist from being the actor to being the director.
That's a great way to put it.
The director doesn't build the sets or write the script, but their specific vision dictates the final emotional impact of the movie.
That is a very helpful way to frame it. The debate remains unresolved because it challenges something deeply subjective, like what makes a piece of art resonate with you.
Right, it's so personal.
When you hear a piece of music that gives you chills, does it actually matter if the sequence of notes was originally drafted by a silicon chip processing statistical probabilities?
Wow, yeah.
As long as the human who polished it managed to infuse it with their own perspective.
That curation aspect, mapping what works, what fails, and how a human mind processes that information, It leads directly into how this exact same underlying architecture is basically rewiring the human brain.
Oh, absolutely. The implications are huge.
Because if AI is now our personal shopper anticipating our needs and our creative co-writer generating our art, we desperately need to figure out how to teach the next generation to live alongside it.
The academic world is undergoing a profound structural shift right now because of this.
Yeah.
It's not just about, adding AI ethics to the computer science syllabus. The technology is turning inward to optimize the learning process itself.
Looking at university campuses right now, we're seeing this massive rollout of personalized learning platforms powered by AI.
Yes, it's everywhere.
And what really stands out isn't just the subject matter, but the mechanism of delivery. Wait, so this is exactly what the retail bots are doing, but for our brains.
That is exactly what it is.
Instead of analyzing my past shopping data to predict my next purchase, the AI is analyzing my past test scores, my homework data, and even the time it takes me to answer a specific type of question,
Uh-huh.
all to predict my next point of confusion in a calculus concept.
You are describing the application of Bayesian knowledge tracing.
Bayesian knowledge tracing, okay, what is that?
It is a fascinating mechanism. The AI builds a highly complex cognitive map of the student.
A cognitive map.
Right. As you interact with the platform, it is constantly modeling the probability that you have mastered a specific latent skill.
Okay, so it's tracking my progress in real time.
Exactly. It tracks your error rates, your hesitation times, the specific types of mistakes you make.
So if I fail a complex physics equation, the AI knows whether I failed because I don't understand the physics concept or because I have a lingering foundational gap in the algebra required to solve it.
Yes. It pinpoints the exact cognitive failure point. And because it operates in real time, it instantly adapts.
That's incredible.
It might slow down, rephrase the problem, offer a completely different visual analogy tailored to your specific learning style, and provide targeted resources until you grasp that specific algebraic step.
Wow.
It is an infinitely patient, bespoke intellectual journey.
Which completely shatters the industrial model of education we've relied on for over a century.
It totally dismantles it.
The standard one-size-fits-all lecture, where one person broadcasts information to 300 students at an average pace, suddenly looks incredibly antiquated.
It really does.
But it does raise a massive question about the human element. If the AI is this perfect, adaptive, bespoke tutor, what does the actual professor do?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the role of the educator is fundamentally elevated.
Elevated. How so?
Because the AI is handling the rote mechanics of teaching, the repetitive explanations of baseline concepts, the grading, the foundational drill.
The tedious stuff.
Exactly. So the human educator is freed up to do what humans do best. The teacher steps back from being a simple broadcaster of facts and steps into the role of a targeted mentor.
They become the director of the classroom, just like in the music analogy.
Precisely. They can look at the AI's dashboard, see exactly which 3 students in a seminar are struggling with a profound philosophical nuance or maybe a complex ethical implication.
Right.
And they can pull them aside for a high-level, deeply human conversation.
That sounds amazing.
It allows human teachers to focus on critical thinking, debate, and emotional intelligence, things the AI simply cannot simulate. It makes the educational environment far more adaptive and inclusive.
It sounds incredibly powerful, but we have to look at the totality of what we've just discussed across retail, art, and education.
Yes, there's a broader theme here.
To make any of this function, to get the bespoke shopping experience, the collaborative musical tools, the highly adaptive tutoring the system, requires a granular, incredibly intimate map of who we are.
And that is the elephant in the room. The sheer volume of personal data required to train these models and run these predictive algorithms is staggering.
It's kind of terrifying.
It knows your impulse control triggers, your emotional responses to art, and your specific intellectual vulnerabilities.
The intimacy of this technology demands a massive level of trust from the public, which is why the latest developments are intensely focused on establishing ethical guardrails.
They have to be.
Industry leaders and policymakers are currently scrambling to collaborate on frameworks to address algorithmic bias, secure user privacy, and enforce transparency.
Because without those frameworks, the structural viability of the entire AI industry is at risk.
So what does this all mean for the listener? I mean, let's talk about the tension there.
Sure.
We have the very industry leaders who are building these incredibly powerful, data-hungry tools, sitting at the table collaborating on the rules.
No.
How do we guarantee these frameworks actually prioritize our privacy and prevent bias, rather than just protecting corporate interests? It feels a bit like letting the casino design the city's gambling laws.
That's a very fair comparison.
I mean, sure, they understand the mathematical probabilities better than anyone, but they also own the house.
That skepticism is entirely valid, and it highlights the core tension in regulatory capture. Critics argue that allowing the architects of these systems to draft the rules will inevitably lead to watered-down guidelines.
Right, guidelines that just protect their bottom line.
Exactly. Guidelines that prioritize innovation velocity and profit margins over strict consumer protections.
Basically just saying, we promise we've anonymized your data, just trust us.
But the counter perspective, the reason policymakers actively need these tech leaders at the table, is that the technology is evolving so rapidly and the mechanics are so dense that outside regulators simply do not have the technical expertise to draft rules that actually work.
That makes sense.
If you don't understand how a multi-billion parameter neural network processes data, you cannot effectively legislate how it should be constrained.
You literally need the casino's mathematicians to explain where the slot machines can be rigged.
Exactly. But beyond just regulatory expertise, there is a very pragmatic, structural reason why these tech companies actually want and need transparent guardrails.
Really?
Yes, it comes down to self-preservation.
Explain that. Why would a data-hungry company want to limit their own access?
Because transparency and ethical frameworks are no longer just moral ideals. They are absolute structural necessities for the survival of their business model.
Okay, I'm listening.
Think about the fuel that powers everything we've discussed today. The predictive retail bot, the musical AI, the personalized learning platform. They all rely on a continuous, massive influx of high-quality human data.
Our inputs, everything we do.
Right. If these systems operate as black boxes, if they exhibit blatant bias, or if they violate privacy in a way that causes a massive public scandal, public trust will just evaporate.
And people will stop using them.
Exactly. If there is no trust, users will simply opt out. They will stop sharing the intimate data required to power the personalized platforms.
And without the data pipeline, the models undergo what researchers call model degradation.
Right.
The AI just becomes generic, the predictive capabilities fail, and the entire transformative promise of the technology just collapses.
The industry leaders know that establishing public trust through transparent equity isn't just good ethics. It is an economic imperative.
They need us to trust them to make money.
Yes. That's why they are exploring highly complex technical solutions like differential privacy and federated learning.
What are those?
Basically, they are methods that allow them to train AI models on your data without ever actually moving your raw personal data off your device.
Oh, interesting.
They are building these specifically to bridge this trust gap. The technology can only serve us if we trust it enough to let it map us.
It is a really delicate, symbiotic relationship. We are building an incredibly complex architecture around ourselves.
We really are.
We've seen how advancements in semantic vector spaces are turning basic chatbots into hyper-observant personal shoppers.
Yeah.
We've explored the tension in the creative arts, where AI relies on mathematical probability to compose music, forcing us to separate the genesis of an idea from the curation of art.
And we've looked at how Bayesian knowledge tracing maps our intellectual gaps, fundamentally elevating human teachers from lecturers into targeted mentors.
Right.
And of course, we've unpacked the absolute necessity of transparent guardrails, recognizing that without public trust, the data pipeline powering this entire ecosystem dries up entirely.
AI is no longer a speculative technology just hovering on the horizon. It is a transformative force reshaping the daily mechanics of our present reality.
It's here right now.
And navigating that reality requires an active, engaged mind. So to you, our listener, thank you for coming along on this deep dive. Thank you for taking the time to stay curious, to understand the mechanisms beneath the headlines, and to stay well informed.
The world is moving incredibly fast, but understanding the architecture of that movement is how you maintain your agency within it.
Before we let you go, we want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. Today, we've seen how AI is becoming our deeply personalized shopper, our creative co-writer, and our bespoke tutor.
Yeah.
It is getting unbelievably good at analyzing our behavioral data to reflect our exact wants, needs, and learning styles back to us. But it leaves you wondering, at what point does all this perfect personalization stop reflecting who we actually are and start subtly shaping who we become?